everyone! I hope you are all having a wonderful Monday. I'm going to show you the products I'm going to use today. So I was challenged by my friend Shannon, who is She's Crafty on YouTube. She gave me a list of supplies to use, and I thought that those supplies would work perfectly for my Wild Whisper project today. So she challenged me to use enamel dots. She challenged me to use mists on my page. So I have two colorings and a vibes. She challenged me to use 3 fonts on my page. So I grabbed my Everett dies from Kathy Zilski and my 2 stamp sets from Wild Whisper that I love the bestest. And then she challenged me to use 5 pattern papers and a rainbow color palette. So I decided I would use this background because it pulled in all of those rainbow colors. And then I grabbed these papers from Nicole Wright's collections. So the color palette, the rainbow color palette is from Mixed Media Assemblage, and then the other ones are from the new Floral collection. I'm going to start by putting some mist into these little triangle containers, and we're going to paint the flowers and leaves on the pattern papers with these colors. So the trick to coloring with shimmers mists is to really combine them. You want to get them really good and combined, and then you can just pour them right into little containers and you can paint with them. So that's what we're going to do today. While I kind of get my colors together and show you how I'm going to paint them, let's talk about these challenges and where they came from. So in my Rediscover Your Stash Facebook group, I posted a link because, as you know, I am on a spending quarantine right now, and I was feeling the need for Happy Mail, and I was kind of down. I was having, most of you guys know that last week I had like creative slump. And so I said, issue me challenges. And so a bunch of people in the group did. And I am going to work through that post and all of those challenges over the course of this week in my videos. So the first person that commented and issued me a challenge was Shannon. So that's going to be today. She has a YouTube channel and she's fabulous. I have had the wonderful pleasure of meeting her in person and going to a retreat for her and she's so much fun. So what I'm doing here is I have a very tiny watercolor brush and I have a very small flat brush. I would use a better quality brush for this because a lot of this painting is detailed. So my mists are mixed really well. I put them in those triangle containers and I am just going to go ahead and paint the flowers just like you would paint anything. Wild Whisper paper is amazing for things like this. It takes all kinds of mixed media just so well. It's nice and thick, and just the not just the weight of it, but like the, what's it called, like the smoothness of it, or the type of paper it is, it works really good. It holds up to a lot of watercolor. So the 3 sprays I am using are Pink Stiletto, Blue Jeans, and Oh Say Can You See, in case you're interested in that. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to watercolor 2 half pages of flowers. So we have one of flowers, one of leaves, and I just put on a movie. I think I watched Just Friends, that really old movie with, well, it's not really old, but it's an older Ryan Reynolds movie. It's so funny and cute. I think I watched that and painted all of these flowers. And once I had everything painted, as you can see here, now I'm going to grab my fussy cutting scissors. I'm going to start another movie. I don't remember what I watched this time. And I'm going to fussy cut all of those flowers. You can see them right there. Now, I didn't use all the flowers on this particular layout, but I just put the rest in a glassine bag for later. So this layout is going to be nice and, well, somewhat quick now that I have this done. I'm going to start by trimming a little bit of the white off of these pictures. So when I have to trim my pictures like this, you know I printed them at home. and that I didn't send them off to persnickety prints. Persnickety prints is my preferred method for photo printing, and if I have a picture that is like especially good, or if I want to put a picture in my traveler's notebook and have it be 4x8, that's where I order them from. I usually order from them once a month, sometimes twice. But like these particular pictures, I just took them and I wanted to scrapbook them, so I have a Canon Pixma in my room that prints quite nicely, and so I just print them on matte photo paper. I use Canon paper, and I think that that helps to get really good photos. I'm gonna go ahead and use this as my background. I'm gonna cut the branding strip off, and then I'm gonna turn it like every which way, and I think I end up using it upside down, which, you know, that's totally fine. And then I wanna make a row down the middle of my page. So I'm going to map my photos together, and I kept putting this one picture upside down, so I knew I needed to get it on a mat pretty quickly, because otherwise I was going to end up like getting the photo on the page upside down. I'm gonna map them in this blue. I'm gonna pick the correct area of blue so it looks as close to the blue that's in that watercolor. And there's like this section that's like purpley blue, and I'm gonna map those onto that paper. So now I have my matted photos. I matted them together. Now I'm gonna like turn this paper all the way around, trying to figure out where I want, how I want the paper oriented. My allergies, you guys, right now are ridiculous. Oh my gosh, I've had a sore throat and headache for days. My sinuses are all congested, but I know it's just allergies. We're putting in a garden and it's insane in my house. There's so much grass and stuff. So now I am sticking and plunking. I'm starting with the green leaves because I'm starting with the biggest pieces. I shouldn't say I'm starting with the green leaves. I'm starting with the biggest pieces, both the flowers and these long tendrily leaves. And I'm just placing the big pieces and then filling it in with the next big pieces, and then the next size big pieces. I always do that whenever I want to cluster anything. I start with the big stuff and then move down into the small stuff. Works like a charm every time. I'm going to entwine these little leaves with my photos and kind of get them where I want them. I'm just gluing them down with a regular old Kikuyo tape runner, nothing fancy. So this layout is one of my spring explosion layouts. When my flowers start to bloom, I love my flowers. I take lots of photos of my flowers when they bloom, and then I promise you I scrapbook them all. And a lot of times I do pages like this, which there's no journaling, it's just spring. And I find a beautiful quote that I like about nature or about flowers or about spring, and I go ahead and do that. You probably saw on Friday that I did a page quite similar to that with just beautiful spring flowers. I take pictures of flowers, it's what I do. And some of them go into my big 12x12 album, and some of them end up in a traveler's notebook. And I have a couple of traveler's notebooks. They're called Glimpses of Nature, Volume 1 and Volume 2. I love my spring flowers, I really do. So I always do a couple of layouts that are just a pink and flowery and spring explosion and ready, just gorgeous. So that's what we're working on today. All right, I'm happy with where all of these flowers are, and I'm not really thinking that I want to do any more. I'm going to clean off my mat and get to the next part of my layout, which is going to be the title. I have my quote all picked out, and I'm going to use portions of this particular paper. So a lot of the papers in the florals pack, so one side is like black and white and florals or designs, and then the other side are like these big watercolor washes. And there's such a depth and such a level of color in them that if you wanted something really, really red, you could do it. If you wanted something a little more pink, there's some pink on there too that you could use. So I want to go ahead and use a little bit more of the pink sections of this paper And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna die cut spring and something else. I'm just gonna grab washi tape that's sitting on my desk. I know I am not picky about washi tape, about what it looks like or if I like it or not. I like all my washi tape, but if I'm just using a little bit to hold down a die, I don't fret too much if I use the really, really, really pretty Heidi Swap washi tape or not. So I'm going to die cut 2 of the words from these Everett letter dies, and I'm going to start with those, and then we're going to stamp. So I'm going to use Be Mine and Sweet 16 ink from Catherine Pooler because those were the colors that really seemed to match my layout a bit. I'm going to go ahead and stamp out 2 words, and then I'm going to fussy cut them. So the first word, I'm going to use like one of, actually I did 3 words. So the first word is going to be a mix between the 2 different colors. The second word I stamp is going to be all Be Mine, and then the third word I stamp is going to be all Sweet 16 ink colors. And I'm going to alternate between the 2 Wild Whisper font stamps. And then I'm just going to take my trusty close to my heart scissors and cut out all of these words. Love those brush letter stamps because they fit together so well, and you can fussy cut them as one big word. So I'm just fussy cutting each part of my title. So I have this spring up at the top in that bright pink. Then I have this the next word kind of underneath. I'm going to take this everything and pop it right into the middle. And my title is going to say, Spring Makes Everything Young Again. And then I have these 2 beautiful photos of my pink azaleas that I just love. I'm sure you've heard about. If you've been watching my channel for years, you know I had so much angst getting these azaleas to bloom. I went through 3 or 4 different azalea bushes that just flat out died. And then I finally have these 2 gorgeous pink ones that are growing and thriving and actually getting bigger every year and actually blooming, which is yay! Because I have the worst. I love flowers, but I have the worst black thumb in the history of ever. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and start adding the enamel dots, which is the last little bit of my recipe from Shannon. I added a little bit of Queen and Company yellow gems, and then I had some matte enamel dots, which I love matte enamel dots, but I have black and a little bit of teal that matched. So that's going to complete this layout. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, you can always use my design team code down below to save a little bit on your next Wild Whisper order. And here are all the beautiful close-ups. I will talk to you all again very soon. I hope you've enjoyed this spring explosion layout. Tomorrow we are working with heritage photos, so we'll see you then. Bye.